It may or may not surprise you to hear that police data suggests that older drivers are less likely to be involved in road traffic collisions than younger drivers, but that's not to say that questions aren't being raised, such as whether they need to retake a driving test, whether they need to certify that they are still able to drive safely, or provide evidence of eye tests and that their eyesight is still good enough to be able to drive. Just a month ago, the Express reported that there are over 134,000 drivers over the age of 90, and according to the Older Driver Task Force, which is set up by the Hampshire Constabulary, it reports that by the year 2025 there will be more than 1 million drivers over the age of 85. So given the changing demographic, there's been a report by the Older Drivers Task Force which has made several recommendations. These recommendations include raising the automatic requirement for drivers over the age of 70 to notify the DVLA of any medical condition which will affect driving to the age of 75. That is, if the requirement to take an eyesight test is made compulsory. The second recommendation is to require that the DVLA get evidence of an eyesight test at the license renewal. That being, of course, because the driving license will expire at the age of 70 and needs to be renewed. And then, of course, it needs to be renewed every 3 years thereafter. The third recommendation is to ask a consumer body to prepare specific advice on modern car safety features that are specifically significant for older drivers. The fourth is to improve road design signs and markings to meet the highest international standards, specifically designed to aid older drivers, but whilst bringing benefits for everybody on the road. The fifth recommendation is to evaluate the existing driving appraisal courses and improving information provided to older drivers, their families, and the medical professionals that care for them. The sixth recommendation is to pilot new products which will offer an alternative to driving for older people. These will doubtless include such mobility scooters and maybe even e-scooters, because legislation for those is, of course, on the horizon. And finally, the report recommends bringing together insurer data and research into major claims involving older drivers to understand the detailed causes of those collisions. Interestingly, I can quote the task force saying a key precondition is that older motorists should be medically fit to drive and seek advice when a limiting condition develops or gets worse, but age itself should not be a barrier to safe driving. Encouraging voluntary, confidential driving appraisals so that they become the norm, not a stigma, and helping older drivers understand and use the latest safety driving vehicle technology will make a big difference. It says that people are living longer, healthier, more active lives and driving longer. The number of drivers over the age of 85 will double to 1 million by the year 2025, many without access to public transport. This influx of older drivers has important economical and social value, but also presents road safety risks if we don't adapt. And I know, because many of you have sent me messages or left comments on videos, that there are concerns about older drivers, whether older drivers can still drive safely, whether they can still see well enough to drive safely. Some of these recommendations might be that they take regular eye tests and, as I said, present that evidence to the DVLA upon renewal of their driving license, just to ensure that they can still see properly and drive safely. Some people have suggested that they have to retake the test at that age. Then the same question might be raised for everybody else. Should it not be necessary for everybody to retake the test every 10 years? Clearly, that's not going to be a popular option. I'm not sure I'd want to retake my driving test even now, although I feel that I drive safely, and probably you do too. But that doesn't necessarily mean you'll be able to pass a driving test in the same way that you did when you first took it. But let's remember that for some people that are driving today, it was not the law to wear seatbelts when they took their driving test. So a lot has changed, a lot continues to change. There are continual changes to the highway code, which we are all supposed to be familiar with if we're out on the roads driving, because each and every road user has a duty of care to each other, and implicit within that is that you follow the rules of the highway code and any other road legislation. So doubtless there's going to be a whole range of views and a whole range of comments on this subject. Drop those below, let's get a conversation. Please remember to like the video and subscribe if you haven't already done so. I enjoy making these videos, and of course, thank you for watching.